welcome to my new video in the channel. It's a complete privilege to be able to spend some time here in the nature, in the wild, just listening to the sounds of the water stream and to the sounds of the birds, and just to live this moment, this privilege to be in contact with nature, just alone by ourselves and without the craziness of the human world. So today we are going to make some photos about this place. This is Rabassal's River in north of Portugal, and it is a fantastic place to make some landscape photography or some nature photography. It's full of life and full, of course, of wildlife, and it has some magnificent places to make landscape photography. So today it will be all about long exposures, minimalist compositions, and I'm going to try to take advantage of the water that is a little bit high because of the rain, and the water caught these trees here in the shore. So I'm going to try to make some compositions of this, some minimalist black and white photography, and some long exposures. So let's go. Interesting thing I saw when I arrived here in this place was this magnificent tree over there. So it's surrounded by water, which is one thing that I do want to make a long exposure shot, and the texture of the tree is absolutely magnificent. It's beautiful. So I wanted to make a photo of this tree, but I have two things that are against the composition. One is the light. The light is not favorable for this kind of shot from here, and the second thing is one car that is in the other side of the river, so the car is ruining the composition. So I don't know what I'm going to do, but definitely I'm going to try to make this shot here. Not easy, not easy. Well, it's been more hard than I calculated. It's not easy composition, because I have the streaming coming to here, which I find fantastic. I have the tree. I'm going to make a long exposure. First, I'm going to try to make just a single long exposure, a simple long exposure of about 1 second with the ND64, the filter from Marumi, which, by the way, I like it. I'm not sponsored, unfortunately, but it's a good filter. So the ND64, it takes about 4 stops of light. I'm sorry, 6 stops of light, that's the number. And let's see if with 1 second I can make the composition. I also going to stack one circular polarizer filter to be able to catch the water with more detail. I wanted to put a composition with the foreground here, but I cannot find interest in this grass of the foreground, so it's not very good for the composition. So I'm going to take it off. Maybe in another shot I can compose with the foreground. So in this one, my first choice will be the streaming to the left and the water, and of course the tree to the right, and let's see how it goes. It turned out to be 6 seconds of exposure with the ND64 and the circular polarizer stacked. It was a lot for the effect that I wanted in the water, and I was not really happy with this result. Well, that was not good. Not good. I made the photo, but as soon as I watched the photo for the viewfinder, I was not happy with the composition, and I couldn't take that photo. It was not good. The long exposure was too much. 6 seconds of exposure was too much for this composition. It just completely darkened the water and flattened the water very much. And this composition here lives because of the roughness, of the strength of the water here. in composition with the tree. So I'm going to take a little bit down my point of view, and I'm going to replace the filter from the ND64 to the ND8. So instead of 6 stops of light, I am going to take out only 3 stops of light. So let's see how it goes. Well, in some situations, photography is kind of easy. You go to a place or you find a spot and the photo is just instantaneously made. You see the composition, you make the photo, and everything is perfect. In other situations, you can find a place like this one that is fantastic. You find the composition that you want, but the photo just don't work. I tried twice and I was not happy with the first one. I was more happy with the second one, but that was not enough. I was just not happy. So I tried to make another composition here, and I changed my lens to my telephoto lens and put the filter ND6 stops and make the composition from this place to the streaming of the river. So f13, 1.3 seconds, ISO 100, and let's see. So as you can see in that previous photo, there's nothing easy in landscape photography or in photography itself. A simple detail can change your composition drastically. So in this one, I have here a situation that is not also easy. So the place is very beautiful. I want everything that I need, but in order to make the composition work, you have to pay attention to a lot of details. So in this one here, I want to catch the tree. I want to catch also the water and the foreground because I want to make a good foreground. But with 2 simple great details. One, I am going to use my super filter of ND 100,000, that is 16 stops of light. And the second, I am going to have to make a focus stacking because, of course, with 3-4 minutes exposure, I'm going to get all the foreground blurred, and that's not what I want. I want the foreground to be sharp and the water completely flat. So I only can make that using this kind of filter. With 16 stops of light, I can stop my exposure to about 3-4 minutes. And that's all I need to make this composition to work. So let's try it. It turned out unnecessary to make the stacking of the photos, so this is a single exposure because the foreground was pretty sharp for what I wanted, so I didn't need to stack. And speaking about details, I just found here another place with some fantastic details to photograph. So I have here grass in the water. This grass was caught by the rise of the water and stay here at the surface, giving me this kind of different pattern, and I think it is beautiful. So I'm going to make a shot from up to down and just focusing on these fantastic details of the grass in the water. Well, let's see. Incredibly, I just found a beautiful composition to make this photo, and a simple one. Sometimes when we are photographing, we tend to look to the overall, to the general, to the wide vision, to a widespread vision of everything. And we keep failing to focus on the details, and sometimes the best photos are in the details. So there's a small branch. I don't think this is a branch, this is a root of the tree that is in the water, and the water is streaming through the root, and also the grass that grows in the river is here between the root and the water. So I found this composition very, very effective with a small minor of long exposure to blurry a little bit the water. So I took this shot with 0.5 seconds of exposure just to give that little bit of touch of blurriness in the water. And yeah, f5.6, because I don't need a wide open aperture to this shot. I don't have the depth of field, and that helps me to stay with the 0.5 shutter. So I used an ND8 filter, 3 stops of light to make this. And yeah, I really think this one is a good photo. So another composition, another try, and this time I just found this barrier here with this group of trees that they are entering in the water, and I find it interesting to make a composition with the flattened water and this group of trees inside of the water. So a long exposure, about 15 seconds, ISO 100, f16, and let's see how it goes. Of course, I am thinking in a black and white photo also, so I think in black and white it results better. What a beautiful composition that I found here. I have here a small streaming that flows here between these branches here and that part of land there. It comes from an old ruin, and I'm going to try to make this composition because I think it's going to give a beautiful photo. The problem is I have to go with my camera to that part of water, and I don't know if I can place my tripod sturdily enough to make a good composition without being a shaky image. Another problem that I have is that I don't have an L bracket, so this composition here only works in vertical, and I have problems in making vertical compositions with this head. God, I wish I had an L bracket now, but I don't. What we're gonna do? Well, this is always difficult to make these photos in the water because, of course, you have your camera. You don't want to ruin your camera, but you do want to make the composition. So as you can see, it is beautiful, this, but I don't know if I can make it. Oh, I'm getting wet. Okay, one leg is down, 2 to go. Yeah, it's not going to be easy.
Well, despite I do love the image overall, I find it a little bit unbalanced to the right, so I needed to try another composition.
Okay, so last shot in here. I did find this position better. I catch a little bit less of the stream, but I gain in composition. So I can make a horizontal composition here. I can be closer to this point that is more white in the water and more near the building. So I really like this one, and especially because I have the streaming running directly to me. In the other composition there, the stream, the river, was running to the left of me, and that it's not good when you are making this kind of compositions. When you have your water running directly to you, that is the photo that you want. So unless you get into the water, which I cannot go, obviously, and because it's winter yet in Portugal, I found this rock here. I found the rock stable enough to make the composition, and I really love this one, and I think this one is the keeper of the day. So before I go home, I am going to photograph some mushrooms that I saw in the way. I don't know if I'm going to put it on the video, but now after this composition, yes, it's time for us to have a cup of coffee and to call it off for today's video. So please give a like to this video, subscribe the channel, and see you in my next